Welcome back to the Wake Man channel. All right, so in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and get my 2022 Nautique G23 winterized. And I only have a few things to do because it's only got 3.5 hours on it. Normally I would do an oil change, but if you guys want some guidance on doing an oil change on your wake boat, I've done two different videos. One I did on my 2018 24MXZ, and it had the 450 Raptor engine, and I'll put a link right above me for that. And then this season, I did an oil change on my 2019 Nautique G23 with the 450 H6 engine, PCM engine. So I'll put a link to that video right here as well. So you can go check those out. So I won't be doing an oil change on this boat because it only has 3.5 hours on it. I will be doing an oil change on this boat, and I will film it next season. It'll probably be pretty early on when I film that because I'll need to do one right between, or right around 20 hours. I think it's between 20 and 25 hours. So we'll be doing that. So today, mainly what I'm going to be doing for winterization is I'm going to be adding fuel stabilizer. I already did top off the gas tank. One of my tricks to getting on the water as soon as possible all the time is just keeping my boat full. So I fill up the boat on the way home. I never fill up the boat on the way to the lake. So my boat's always full. And I think it's best if you keep your fuel tank full over the winter or over the off season while it's in layup or winter layup. Because now that there's ethanol in fuel, and I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are using ethanol-free fuel, and you're paying out the nose for it, but I don't feel that's necessary. I do think it's good if you keep your fuel tank full as much as possible because of the ethanol, just because it gives less room for basically water vapors to collect, or water molecules to collect, because that happens when there's more empty space. So I have my fuel tank full, and what I'm going to be doing is adding this fuel stabilizer, and this one specifically is also an ethanol treatment. I believe it helps with that. And this this is the last of a bottle, and I don't have enough in this, so I have another bottle right down here that I'll use. And I believe you're supposed to put 1 ounce of this in for every 10 gallons of fuel that you have in your boat. And I'll have to look it up really quick on this 2022, because I know on the 2019 G23 it was like I want to say it was like a 65 gallon tank. So I'll have to verify on this if it's the same. So that's one thing I'll be doing. The other thing I'll be doing, which is probably the best tip in this video, is I'll be identifying where all the drain plugs are on the engine. And basically where all the water lines go, and I'll be pulling those. But first I'm going to add antifreeze, because winterizations are done in a couple of ways. Sometimes people just pull the plugs and make sure all the water's drained, and pull some hoses, depending on what features you have and how your engine is set up. You might pull plugs and pull some hoses, might only have to pull plugs. It just kind of depends. This boat is equipped with a heater, so usually you want to make sure that you either pull hoses at the heater core or that you get antifreeze up to it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the engine and put antifreeze into it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to run the heater so that it pulls water up through, or so that it pulls that antifreeze up through the heater core. But yeah, you either need to drain the water completely or you need to add antifreeze. But once I add antifreeze, I will then pull all the drain plugs. I know some people believe when you add antifreeze, you should just leave it in. But I've been doing my method where I add antifreeze and then I pull all the plugs and any hoses I might need to do for many years, and it's worked pretty well. Now, keep in mind, I keep my boat in what you can see is a garage. And it is insulated, but it does occasionally get below freezing in here, and I would say usually only when it's negative outside. So So it's still, I still think I need to winterize. Now, if you're in a heated garage and you trust that, then you probably don't need to do the antifreeze and drain the water and all that. Although it may still be good for your engine to get the water out, and as opposed to letting it sit there for a long period of time. And another thing I'll be doing is I'll be opening up the valves for the ballasts, and I'll show you that. That makes it to where no water can just stay in there, or if there is water in there, it has room to expand if it freezes. And then the other thing I typically do is I just put the batteries on a maintainer. Now this boat has a charger on it, but it's currently not working. It's something I'm working on with the dealer and to see if there's something that just didn't get hooked up right, or if maybe that charger needs to be replaced. But it doesn't matter. I have one I can throw in separately. But it would be nice just to plug into that because it is meant for that. But yeah, I do keep my batteries on a maintainer all winter. I also made a video a while back, which is one of my more popular videos, where I went through all the steps that I would care to do on winterization. And it covers more steps than I'm going to be doing today. So I'll link that video right here if you want to check that out in case you need to do some more steps depending on your environment. But yeah, I just wanted to, in this video, I mainly just wanted to show what I'm doing with my 2022 G23 and the ZZ6 450 PCM engine. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get to it. All right, the next step I'm going to complete is I'm going to go ahead and unhook the actuators from the valves that go to the ballast tanks. Now, Nautique, for a while, I don't know how long, has equipped their boats and their ballast systems with an actuator that opens and closes a valve because their pumps are reversible. So it means they pump in and they pump out. And when you have that type of system on the bottom of the boat, you want to have a valve that opens and closes so that it doesn't let water on and it doesn't let water drain out. I'm going to go ahead and show you where that's at. So it's in the middle cavity here where your plug goes, and hopefully there's enough light for you to see this. I'm going to, okay, using my flashlight here. So I'll just try to set this down here so you can see. So this is one of the actuators, and there's the valve that it closes and opens. So you got to take this piece right here off of this valve so that way you can pull it up and leave it open because it's closed right now. When the boat's off, it automatically closes the valve, and there's three of these. Here's one, here's two right here, and then here's number 3 right here. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect these little arms. There we go, got that one off, and then now you just pull the valve up. And I heard water hit the floor right when I did that, so. Okay. Number 2. Okay. That one's off and open. Then we got one more over here. It's gonna be hard to see. Maybe I'll use this. So, there's this one here. Okay, that one's off. Pull the valve up. Okay, so now I've got the actuators removed from the valves, and I've opened the valves up. So that is one of those things that on Nautique that you do have to remember to put those actuators back on before you get back out to the lake. So there is a summarization step there, whereas some winterizations don't require any sort of summarization. But I do a summarization usually every year, if for nothing else, just to make sure that everything is in working order. I like to run it before I go out to the lake. So make sure it starts, those types of things. So I will be doing a summarization on this and doing that. I already did a video on that earlier this year for my 2019. I've also done a more comprehensive summarization video previously that I'll put a link to right here. All right, so I did a little research on what I should do for draining the boat or pulling the drains for the engine. I got some pretty cool news. There's only like 3 little hoses that come up and connect, and it says raw water drain right by the V drive. I'm gonna show it to you guys. So that'll be, I think it's gonna be super simple. I'm gonna pull those when I'm all done putting antifreeze in, and I'm also gonna undo the sea strainer just to drop any fluid from that. I'm checking on this right now, and I should have the answer for this before you see this video. I think that the ZZ6 now has coolant that actually goes to the heater, so you don't actually have to drain the heater lines if you have the heater option on your boat. So that's pretty cool. That's the way the last Malibu I had was. The last 2 Malibus I had were with the 450 engines. Is the engine actually used coolant for most of it, but it would still bring raw water in to kind of act like the fan on your car to cool the coolant. So yeah, you still had to drain some water, kind of like those 3 hoses I was talking about, but you didn't have to do anything to drain the heater. So that's pretty cool. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do my setup for putting the coolant in. And I actually made myself a little bucket here with a spigot on it. So I'll put all the coolant in this bucket. You can see I have coolant down there. I actually have a gallon and a half or so of coolant from when I did my camper left over, so that's why it's in that bucket right there. And then I have a few more extra gallons on top of that. So I'm going to run a lot of that through here, make sure it's all good to go, and then I'll pull those drains. One of the things that's super cool is while I was in there looking at the V drive where those little drain hoses are, I found 2 disconnected cables, and it was for the charger. It looked exactly like what the charger hookup should be to the battery, and so I hooked those up and plugged in the charger, and the charger's working now. So now I have my charger / maintainer for the boat over the season. I don't have to put my separate one in. It's already built into the boat. So yeah, that's a plus, and I'll plug it all in once I have it parked back in the garage. You might be wondering why I pulled the boat out to do this step, and that's simply because I didn't want to get a bunch of water and or antifreeze that will come out of the exhaust all over my garage. So I pull it out so that it'll spill it right here instead of inside my garage. And you can actually see there's the water from when I opened the valves on the ballasts. Just drained right there, so that wasn't much, but when you do this step, it does put a lot of water out. So and some of the antifreeze that you're putting in, it'll come out of there, and that's how you know that it's gone through the system. So yeah, I'll get set up and I'll get the antifreeze in there, and then I'll pull the drains. Okay, so now I'm in the boat and I'm getting set up to add the antifreeze. So I've got my bucket with the spigot. I think I'm gonna put that back here. I've got a hose I'm gonna hook to the spigot, and then I've also got this freshwater flush system. So this is kind of nice. I haven't had one of these before. On my last 2 Malibus I had, you could hook a hose right to the sea strainer. My last boat, the Nautique, my 2019 G23, I may have had this, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere. But I never had to do a winterization on that one, so because I only had it for 1 season and sold it before winter came. So I'll hook these up, and then what I'll do is I'll add what's in that bucket in there, because it's not perfect. It does drip a tiny bit, so I'll have one of these rags underneath of it, and then I'll go start the engine, and while it's going, I'll pour the rest of those in. Okay, so now I'm just opening the valve here. It was closed. And I go ahead and put a rag or two down here. So put a rag up top. That just like that there. And then I'm gonna keep this other one to just kind of wipe up drips if they're happening. So I don't know if this is a perfect connection or that's a perfect connection. I know it drips right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna get the boat ready to go. Okay, I was hoping the battery would be at a good level there, so to start it. So now I should just have to hit the start button when I'm ready. Pour this in now. A little spider web there. Okay. Stop this. Okay. I'm also going to get these ready here. One more thing, I just realized this. I forgot about it, which I wish I would have thought about it before. There's a little valve on this, so I got to open that up. I'll show you this here. So there's a valve right here that I need to. This right here. I need to turn this down. Okay. And now it's ready. Okay, one other thing I think I need to do is I need to turn this valve off for this water intake, which I just did. It's just that red handle down there. I put it to the side. It was in line with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this now. I gotta turn off the engine. All right, that worked pretty well actually. I was actually a little concerned because that spigot on its own, with the pressure of how much liquid's in here, it doesn't really come out very fast, but I was hoping it would cause a suction, the engine would cause a suction, and it did. So that actually worked really well. So it should be good with antifreeze now. So now I'm just gonna take that apart, get it out of here unhooked, and then I'll probably leave that valve open, maybe even open that valve up down there. So it just lets any excess antifreeze water get out. And I'll show you the drains that I'm unhooked here in a second. So. Okay, so now to get to the V drive is under this. So I just pull this back, and it's this hatch right here. And then you got to pull that out. So I'm going to set the camera up here. Okay, let's set this over here. So now, right there, you can see those 3 hoses hooked into that little blue thing, and it says, I'm not sure if you can read that, but it says raw water drain. So I believe I just need to detach each one of those. And I think all you do is push this little button on it. Yep. Ooh, there's some water. So there you go. That's pretty cool, actually. And there we got some more. And there we got another one. So I'm gonna get those pushed down to the very bottom. But obviously, as you can tell, you just wanna probably hook those back up for summerization. But like I said, I'll be doing a summerization to show that. All right, so I got those off and I held them down to the bottom until it sounded like they were totally drained, and I was touching the end of them too to make sure, but they were all pouring, they were all running pink by the end, which is great because that means that there's antifreeze all the way to the tip. So so even if there was a little bit of antifreeze left in them, then they'd be fine. And actually that's why I run antifreeze, is because I feel like it's very common that you can't get all the water out of every little crevice. Maybe the way the boat is sitting, I mean right now I'm sitting nose down, whatever it may be. So that's why I like to run antifreeze, just in case there's some water sitting in a corner and you couldn't get it all drained, so that could freeze. And even though it might have room to move, I just like to be extra cautious. So so although it's not required to put antifreeze in, I just like to do it for my own sanity, and RV antifreeze is cheap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get under this cabin again, where the ballast pumps and battery is, and right behind that is the sea strainer, or the basically the raw water intake screen that would catch any junk that might come in. I'm also going to open that valve back up for the raw water intake, and I'm going to remove the screen because it holds probably a good cup full of water. So I'm going to pour that out, and then I'll just put it back on, and that'll be it. I'm just gonna park the boat back inside and then hook up the charger, which I'll show you the charger really quick. So there's a plug that comes out right here that you just hook in a cord to your power, and then here's the charger right here. So it just automatically either charges or maintains the battery depending on whether it's already charged. So so like I said, I got that working. I found in fact, I'll show you. It was this cable right here and this cable right here. I found these just unhooked back in by the V drive, just hanging out. So I hooked those up, and then I tried it out and the battery charger is working. So, and maybe when I hook that up, when I put it inside, I'll show you guys a quick shot of what it looks like on the front of it. Okay, so now I'm gonna hook up the battery charger. So as you can see right here. Okay, so now that's hooked up. So if I open this guy up, now you can see it's charging, and this is the meter. There's 3 other bars on here. It tells you whether or not it's charged. Blue means it's analyzing. It'll turn red when it starts actually charging. So yeah, before it was showing a red battery, which means there's a fault. So so yeah, once I hooked that up, it started working. But yeah, right now what I'm gonna do, which just might be hard to see, is here's the sea strainer right here. You can kind of see a screen. I'm gonna unscrew this and then drain that water. And I'm also going to, right now, I'll just go ahead and open this guy back up. And actually, I could hear some pour on the ground, so that's perfect. Okay. All right. So now I'm just gonna try to set this up to where you guys can see it. So now you should be able to tell. So it's kind of pink, which is good. That means that antifreeze got to that, and you can see there's some crud in it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and dump this out really quick. Let's put this back on. Okay, so that should be it for getting this winterized. Like I said, I usually do an oil change. I'm gonna get my batteries on charge. You might have seen a can of fogging oil that I've had carrying around, and I normally do that, but I read the manual and I didn't see anything about fogging it, so I'm not gonna do that. Plus it's really dry in Montana. I would just pay really close attention to whether or not you need to fog your engine if you live in a really humid environment. So that should be it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this back in the garage and get it on the battery charger. I usually put the cover on this throughout the winter as well, so it's just not collecting dust. That and the swim platform, and it's really easy to get the cover off if I want to show it to somebody or I need to get in here to do something. So no big deal. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on this video or ideas for future videos, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you can be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.